up, everybody? It's April Love, and we're back with another episode of Just Breathe with April Love. And I am very excited. I'm always excited. I'll probably always start this podcast like that because this year has been my year of intention, being very intentional about what I was going to be a part of, what I was going to, what was going to have access to me, which projects were going to become priority, which, relationships, and I do mean friendships and even family relationships had to kind of be paused. I am basically taking no prisoners when it comes to my peace. And I definitely made sure that that was clear this year, 2023. So, in doing that, a lot of things start to really open up. When you start to put things in perspective and put things in priority based on what you know you should be doing on purpose and in purpose, things start to really line up. And those things that no longer serve you move out of the way and new things show up. The people you need, the help you need is on the way when you say that yes and when you really, really just lean into purpose. So today we're going to really get into that, how people are understanding what their callings are, but are saying yes, not running from it, but aligning with it. And I am so excited about the guest I have today. I am grateful to call him a friend. I know him in real life, as well as I'm a fan of his music. He has a new project. I'm going to let him tell you about it, but it is incredible. And he's incredible. So we're going to get into his journey and we're going to take a deep breath in and exhale it out and get into this conversation. Help me welcome the Travis Malloy.
How you doing?
Hi,
How
how
you
are
doing? I'm
you?
amazing.
Your voice got a good vibration going on already. You ain't even said nothing. So, you know what? I have your bio here. I know you and what you've done, even with your brand here and your music. But I want you to tell the people that may not know, who is Travis Malloy?
I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, serial entrepreneur, motivational speaker. I'm a visionary. I'm a
Yes, you are.
dreamer. I'm a doer. I'm a faith man. I make stuff happen.
Nice. What does the word faith mean to you personally? Like, how's it shown up or in your
You
life?
know, faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen. And I've always been about believing in things to happen for me,
Mhm.
believing in God to make them happen for me, or to give me the strength to make them happen for myself.
Mhm.
So that's what faith is to me. And I've just always been that faith guy. Like I had the faith the size of a mustard seed, but I think my faith was much bigger than a mustard seed. I've always had a
Right.
lot of faith, even when have been disappointed,
Mm.
have been let down at times. I still had that faith in my back pocket that it was
Mm.
gonna happen. So that's what it is for me, and that's who I am, just as a person in
You
general.
are faith.
Yeah, I am
If
faith.
faith was a person.
Yeah, I'm the faith man.
Wow. So share with us a little bit about your upbringing. Where you from and
I'm
how'd
from
you
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Born and raised, black and yellow. You know how
Black
we
and
do
yellow,
all day.
Steelers, yes, for
The
sure.
Steelers, the Panthers, the
Mhm.
Pirates, the Penguins.
All of
You
that.
know
All
how
of
we do.
them.
It's a sports town.
Mhm.
I had older parents, and my mom and my dad. They weren't together, growing up, but he was always in my life.
Oh, that's sweet.
My mom, it was a single mom of three, and she
Mhm.
raised us. She's definitely a superstar. She
Nice.
raised us by herself, and she made it happen with the
Mhm.
support of my dad. And Pittsburgh is a very small city. It's a sports town, as I referred to.
Yeah.
So I feel like I reached my peak there, and I had to, go to the next level. So I came down south. I
Oh.
needed some southern hospitality.
Oh, shoot. And you showed up, okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, when did you know that you were Travis Malloy, this musician, this gifted writer? Like, when did
You
were
know
you
what? A lot of people try to shy away from it, but I was born and raised in church.
Mhm.
That's where my foundation is in music. And I didn't grow up in an overly religious home, but I did grow up in a very spiritual home. So
Mhm.
I wasn't the guy that wasn't allowed to listen to R&B. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So while we were listening to, Kurt Franklin and John P. Key, we were
Mhm.
listening to Jodeci and Earth, Wind and Fire as well.
Mm.
While we were listening to Vanessa Bell, we were listening to, Tina Marie, you know what I mean? And
Oh,
Evelyn
okay.
Champagne King.
Mm.
So I had this very unique, uh, I was exposed to a lot of great music.
Mhm.
And my mom ended up putting me into the Performing Arts High School, Kappa High School, which is where I graduated from. And that's when I kind of found my love for like performing.
Mhm.
Obviously, singing in church and things like that, that was
Mhm.
always like a big thing for me. But when I got to school and started really learning about the gifts that I had that God had given me,
Mhm.
because when you grow up in church, you don't have any formal, you
Yeah.
know, training on anything. You're
Mhm.
just singing, playing the piano, playing the drums, doing whatever you need to do to
Right.
make service go good. But
Right.
when I got to high school with professional teachers who was teaching me what I was singing, teaching me what I was playing, you know
Right.
what I mean, and showing me how to direct and arrange and all those things. That's when I fell in love with it. And immediately following high school, I didn't go to college. I jumped straight into music. I felt like that wasn't my direct path to go straight to college. I just
Right.
wanted to do music and what made me happy. That was the only thing that just made me feel good. It's like medicine. It's a
Right.
universal language. And music,
Absolutely.
music is just so beautiful.
So do you feel like it's a calling? Was it pulling on you at that point,
Uh
or were you
yeah.
just drawn to
You
it
know,
because it was
it's
sounding
always
good?
it's always been a calling. I
Okay.
do believe it was a calling. Obviously, we growing up in church,
Yeah.
I done been prophesied to,
Oh,
and
probably
people
numerous
spoke
times.
over my life many, many times, and a lot of it was, on point for sure.
Mhm.
And then growing up, listening to Tevin Campbell sing "Can We Talk" and and John P.
Right.
Key singing "Show Up" and all these great. It was
Yes.
and Charlie Wilson and the Gap Band. It's
You need
like
to share your playlist.
you know
I
what I'm
know it's a
saying? Like
mixture of all
I
those.
wanted to mix all of that together. So that's
Mhm.
really what my sound is even today. It's literally like a mixture of John P. Key and Jodeci and Charlie
Ah,
Wilson and
what do you call
Kirk
that?
Franklin. I don't know what to call it, but it's like the greatest Southern gumbo you could ever have in your life.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, a whole
And
gumbo.
yeah, so it's like I feel like I was always called to impact people.
Mhm.
And I don't necessarily know if that's just music. God has blessed me with a unique personality to
Mhm.
make people smile,
True.
and so I like to say I'm also an entertainer. Growing up in church, we weren't allowed to say that
Mhm.
because you ain't supposed to entertain nobody. It's about Christ. But now that I'm older, I'm much more confident in who I am and what I've
Yeah.
really been called to do. And it's okay
Right.
to entertain people. I love to make people laugh. I love to make people
Mhm.
feel better.
Right.
I just did a listening session a couple weeks ago, and a girl that I hadn't seen in 20 years came up to me and said, "You probably don't remember me, but I was a senior when you were a freshman." She said, "And I always knew you were going to do big things." And she said, "And one of those things that made me feel that way is because growing up, you always had something uplifting to say in school and you always made people smile."
Oh,
And
what a legacy.
it just shifted my whole body when she said that
Uh-huh.
because I don't necessarily remember,
Yeah.
but that's
It
who
was
I
just who
am
you were.
today and that's who I
Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
a
just
blessing that she didn't forget. And I haven't
right.
seen her in 20 years, didn't know she was even coming
And impacted her
and
like that.
impacted her. So that
That's
was a blessing.
amazing.
So that's who I am.
So that's
Yeah.
what you're here to do. Impact the world. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So my question, because I'm back up to something you said in regards to you prefaced it by saying not religious but spiritual.
Mhm.
What does that mean to you, the differentiation between the two?
Um,
Because a lot of people are very mindful saying not religious now.
Religion
Mhm.
is rules and regulations.
Mhm.
Uh, I think it's some of them are great pathways to live a better life, but spiritual is like having a relationship with God and your relationship not being funneled through other people.
Mhm.
A lot that's happening a lot in churches. Like
Yeah,
it's
like you
about
gotta have that
y-
shepherd or whatever,
yeah, it's like a whole system.
Yeah.
And the truth is I didn't really start uh experiencing the next level of blessings and the
Mhm.
manifestation of God's promises over my life until I left church for a season because
Mhm.
I needed to detox from all the things that I had
Yeah.
learned, I needed to unlearn a lot of
Absolutely.
toxic traits
Mhm.
that I learned in church.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times, people don't say this often, but I'm grown now, so I can say it. But there's a lot of traumatized people in church
Oh, yeah.
trying to help each other,
Exactly.
and they all end up traumatizing each other sometimes.
Exactly. It's
And
almost like the people trying to save somebody from drowning and drown
yeah,
themselves.
just
Yeah.
everybody's just like in this pool.
Mhm.
And so when you're and even the people that are trying to teach you are
Mhm.
traumatized.
Right.
And so I had to walk away from the system, not God. I had to walk away from the system of church to really grow and detox from all of those toxic things and to regrow
Mhm.
and to
Mhm.
relearn so
Yeah.
that I could really start experiencing the next level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Separation.
Hmm.
That's big. A lot of people sometimes I was talking to someone else not too long ago, and I liken it to that too. Like like for instance, if this is your hometown, sometimes you
Hmm.
got to get out of your hometown
Hmm.
for people to really appreciate you,
Hmm.
or for you know what I'm saying, because they're so comfortable with
Yep.
you. Then you got separation from you know something in a relationship like a marriage or whatever,
Hmm.
but sometimes that doesn't mean the end of the marriage. So the separation part is a very, I hope you guys are picking it up. Sometimes you just have to be willing to just take yourself out of a situation so you can really assess
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see when you can go back or if
Yeah.
you ever can.
Yeah. And it was good for me. It
Hmm.
was good for me.
How did you come out of it? Because I mean somebody could be right where you are
You,
today.
honestly,
Yeah.
my pastor brought me out of it.
Okay.
The great Bishop William Murphy.
Yes,
Uh,
I'm rocking a
yeah,
payback
yeah.
sweatshirt, can't wait for the release.
My pastor
He's
brought me out of it. And
amazing.
he always says, when he's extending Christ and for, people to join our church, he
Yeah.
always says it's a well-balanced church.
Mhm.
And I needed a balanced church. I
Yeah.
needed a pastor that's radical about the next level
Yeah.
and about Christ at the same
At the
time.
same time.
And he not being the only one benefiting from the blessings.
You're gonna make me take off.
Bishop Murphy goes out of his way to make sure that we are all blessed.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that we're all going after it. So he
Mhm.
brought me out of it because I was done. I was done. I didn't want to see nobody's church. I ain't want to listen. For the first time, I've been a minister of music of churches since I was 10 years old. This is the
Wow.
first time in 3 years that I'm not working in church. But a lot of
Mm.
times you don't get fed where you're working because you're so busy working.
Right.
And so it has felt amazing to me to go to church, get the word, sing from the pew, and go
Yeah.
home. Now, if my bishop asked me to do something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
But, as far as like the staff member type vibe, I just haven't wanted to do that. And I'm not saying
Mhm.
that I won't ever go back to it, but I
Yeah.
needed this season to just be fed.
Mhm.
And
So you
my
eating good?
church, yes. Let me tell you
Ah.
something. There's no church like the Dream Center Church of Atlanta.
I love
It's
it.
changed my life.
Shout out to
It's
Dream
changed my life.
Center.
And he's in tune. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
He
There's
is.
times I'll be sitting in that pew trying to figure stuff out and he'll just walk up to me. He didn't know what's going on and be like, "Hey, everything you need is getting ready to come find you." And he'll just walk away. You
'Cause
gotta have a shepherd, a leader like that. You gotta
mhm.
have somebody like that in your life
Mhm.
that's in tune with what
Mm.
you got going on.
Right.
And that's
Yes.
praying for you. So yes.
Absolutely, and yeah, and gets it.
Yep.
Absolutely gets it. So what other like how okay, so now take us back to when you got a gift.
Hmm.
It's a little bit more
Hmm.
uh marketable and thing than you really when it's not this little hobby. When you realize this and you like, I'm not even going to college because this is what I'm going to do. What was that like? How seamless was that? And how, did you
It
have any
you know what? It felt like it could have been seamless, but it was a little pressure, but it wasn't pressure that my family put on me. It was pressure that I put on myself.
mm,
Because that's just what we do. My
mm-hmm.
mom supported me. She said, "Listen, I'm going to help you and financially support you as if you're going to college."
Mm,
Because that's how much my mom believes in me
good
to this
mom.
day. So I just jumped straight into the music, and I'm the only person in my immediate family that didn't go to college.
Mm.
So you got to understand that was the pressure that I put on myself
Mhm.
because every time I felt like something wasn't working,
Yeah.
I would immediately start thinking, oh, maybe I should have went to college or, you know, to start thinking about the system of the world
That's the programming.
instead of the system that I was designed to create.
Boy.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm in a season now where it's like, I'm not following the systems of the world. I'm built my
No.
own.
That's
You
right.
know, so my mom is like,
I
she's so
love
proud
that.
of me to see now, you know, and it's so funny, you know, now everybody, I, I mean, I support everybody who's gone. I really do. But, you know, everybody, most people that went that I know ain't even working in the field they went,
Oh,
trying to
no,
get
no.
rid of school student
Stats,
loans and all
yes.
kinds of stuff.
Exactly.
But you know why? Because they went because they felt like they were supposed to
Mhm.
instead of being called to go or feeling like that was the direction they
Yeah.
needed to go. I
It's just what
remember,
you do.
oh God, April Love. I remember sitting in high school in 11th grade. At that time, I think is when you start filling out applications.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting up there acting like I was filling one out for Howard because everybody else was doing it. I'm like, well, I'm going to Howard. But I knew that wasn't my calling. And
That's
I went to my mom and said, hey, I don't want to go. I want to jump straight into music. And that's why I'm excited to launch this year the Malloy Legacy Foundation Scholarship for Dreamers.
oh, nice.
Because I remember sitting in my high school at our awards ceremony. And, you know, this is what they said. They said I was one of the most talented kids to ever be in that school
Mhm.
in 20, 30 years. And I didn't get not one award because I was not eligible because I wasn't going to college. I didn't get no scholarship. I didn't get no nothing. So think about how that could make a creative feel that immediately puts in your system
Mhm.
that you're not making the right decision because you're not eligible
Yeah.
for funding for somebody to just say, hey, here's $1,000 to go get some studio equipment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that I want to change. I want to go into these schools now when it's time for that award ceremony and start blessing these kids that say, "Hey, that's not my direct path, but
Right.
I want to be an artist, a painter. I want to go and open up my own studio, or I want
Mhm.
to drop my clothing line." You don't know what callings and gifts that these people
Yeah,
have that
exactly.
can change the world. But if
Mhm.
we put in their system that that's not good enough
Yeah.
because you're already not eligible for an award because you're not going to a higher learning facility. You know what I'm saying?
People just
So
make up rules.
yeah, it's that. So again, I appreciate having an amazing support system like my mom and my family and my friends. People always ask me, how did you do it? It's because I had people around me who really supported me. I'm not gonna get on this podcast and TV show and make something up and tell y'all they told me I wasn't gonna make it. They didn't tell me that.
Right.
My friend, now if people thought that, they didn't say it to me, but
Mhm.
my friends and my family believed in me and they knew that I would make it. And you got to have people around you that
Mhm.
believe at your
Absolutely.
level.
At your level.
Everybody's not going to
Right.
believe at your level, and that's
Yeah.
okay because some people don't have the capacity to believe at your level. But you got to have
Mhm.
a certain amount of people around you that when you, because every day I don't wake up feeling like Mr. Millions, Billions, Trillions. And
Okay.
sometimes I got to get on the phone and say, hey, I need some help today
Yeah, and be reminded.
and be reminded.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good accountability. Good friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. So now I'm glad you brought up millions, billions, and trillions. Let's get into it. I'll take line number one, number two.
Yeah, we're gonna take all of them.
But yeah, what inspired this? And it just it went viral. Let's,
It
kind of tell us about that journey.
it changed my life. It was
Ah!
the middle of the pandemic. I was
Uh-huh.
just talking to a friend of mine about how scary it was.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize how scary it was really until about a week or so ago. And I remember getting in my car
Mhm.
and not seeing any cars anywhere.
Right.
That probably freaked me out more than people dying from COVID. It did something to my mind to, you know how busy Atlanta is.
Yeah.
So to be driving around and see nobody,
Right.
something about I didn't know what kind of world I was living in
Mhm.
and I didn't know what was getting ready to happen. And I wanted to create something that would help elevate people's mind and take them to a whole nother level of consciousness.
Mhm.
And not just them, but for me.
Mhm.
I needed something to encourage me too. So I felt like millions, billions, trillions, the words alone, it is uh, indicative of elevation. It is symbolic of going to the next level. And not just about money,
Right.
but just another level of consciousness in the way you think, going
Yes.
bigger, going higher. Everybody is not called to be an entrepreneur,
No.
but some people just want to buy their first car
Yeah.
and need help with the level of consciousness that they can even do it.
Right.
The first level or the first course of accepting blessings is really accepting that you even deserve to be blessed.
Right.
A lot of people from our culture, growing up in
Mhm.
church, don't even believe that they deserve that level
Mm.
or scared of this kind of money.
Or like they don't need it. They don't need earthly
Yeah.
treasures. It's going to be in their
And
heavenly
and that's
home.
what we've been trained to believe
Absolutely.
that, your mansion is not down here, but I want both.
I'll take it.
I want a mansion
I,
here
I
and
do.
in
I
heaven.
do. I
And
do.
I believe if we serve
Yes.
the great and mighty God that we serve,
Right.
that he's able and willing to do it and give you the desires of your heart.
Exactly.
The Bible says that he will give you knowledge that brings you wealth.
Wealth. Exactly.
And I just really, really believe that you
Knowledge.
could have whatever you say.
Whatever
You
you
can
say.
have whatever you see. I
Mhm.
remember being in Los Angeles. I have a ritual. I've been on this manifestation kick for a long time.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that.
Every
Yeah.
time I go to LA, I
Mhm.
make my friends drive me through Bel Air and Beverly Hills.
Mm.
Every time. They be looking at me like, Travis, you done this a million times. It does something for
Mhm.
me. It
Yeah.
does something for my spirit. And it's almost like it's like the gym. It's like
Mhm.
working out
Yeah.
for me when as far as manifestation is
Mhm.
concerned. So I make them drive, and I remember I made them take me to the standing house. I was standing outside the Playboy Mansion, and I think the Beyonce's house in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I got out. You can't see their houses like these
Yeah.
big gates.
Mhm.
And I swear I heard the voice of God tell me, if I could bring you to it, I could give it to you. You wouldn't even be able to get that close to it if it wasn't obtainable.
Completely
And I
agree.
just, oh God, it just
Completely
changed my
agree.
life. Just standing there looking at
Mhm.
that gate
Yeah.
and looking at them trees covering that house. He said,
Right.
if I could bring you here, I could give it to you.
Exactly.
So this last time I was in LA,
Mhm.
I said, take me back. I've been doing this 10, 12 years. I said, take me back. We went back, and the houses, watch this, April. The houses started looking cheaper.
You've
Some of
been
y'all might,
elevated since.
oh man,
Ooh.
listen. When I used to ride through Bel Air,
Yeah.
sometimes it would look like I could never get it.
Yes.
But it almost started, they didn't look bad. It just,
Mm-mm.
my mind has changed the way the
Right.
prices even look. I'm getting ready to do a backflip out this
Oh,
chair, April
I'm gonna be
Love.
right behind you.
But my
I'm
mind,
gonna be right
my
behind you
mindset has
yes.
changed so much
Mhm.
that now I'm not walking and driving through Bel Air as a visitor. I'm driving through like I'm getting ready to be y'all neighbor.
Exactly. Without a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. That is possible.
That is possible.
Where do you think it came? Where do you think the limiting beliefs came from? Where do you because I mean, as kids, we got huge imaginations and we got little mansions
and I don't want people to take this the wrong way because we're
Yeah.
growing and
Yeah.
everybody's growing and people only knew what they knew and people only taught what they were taught
Yep.
and what they learned. But a lot of it
That's
was
true.
learned in the enslaved bondage mentality
Mhm.
of religious systems. I'm not going to say church because every church isn't like that.
Not every,
But
a lot.
religious systems
Mhm.
have taught us not to believe at that level because we're not supposed to even have those things down here on earth. And a lot of times in church, we've been taught like almost as if salvation is synonymous with struggle.
Right.
And I've decided not to receive that.
They just took that long suffering and ran
Yeah,
with it.
it's almost like, if you're going to really be sold out for Christ, and we sing these songs, I'll take Jesus over, silver and gold. But actually, it's okay to have both.
Right.
I want Jesus and I want silver and gold. And me wanting both doesn't mean that you have to remind me that Jesus is first. I know that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's been put in us
Yeah.
that, don't worry about these things down here. You
Mhm.
just serve them and struggle, and you're going to be
Mhm.
rewarded in heaven. And I just
Mhm.
think that is a terrible system. And that is one thing that my pastor
Mhm.
has destroyed
Yeah.
in our church. We don't
Yeah.
think like that. We're going to
Mm-mm.
be blessed here and live abundantly in heaven when it's time for us to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
so I think that's where it came from. But millions, billions, trillions. I was working at a church as a minister of music, and at the time the pastor let me go. And in that moment that he let me go, I didn't know what I was getting ready to do.
This is in Atlanta.
Yes, this is in
Mhm.
Atlanta. I didn't know what I was going to do. And when he let me go, we hung up the phone, and I stood in a ball of bills and tears at the same time, like, God, what am I going to do? And he said, I gave you millions, billions, trillions 3 months ago, and you sat on it. See, sometimes God will create situations to force you into entrepreneurship
You better say that.
and to force you into things that you've been sitting on. Some of us have been sitting on multi-million dollar ideas, but you were
Yeah,
sitting because you were comfortable.
comfortable.
But what
Yeah.
happened was I released millions, billions, trillions and made my salary in 60 days 3 times. Don't tell nobody I told you that.
Ah! What?
You get what I'm saying? And
Yes.
it wasn't about that what I created was so great. It was that I was obedient.
Yes,
That
that's it.
God gave it to me and I put it out.
Right.
He said, I'm going to show you another way.
Mhm.
And the truth is, our words have power. Because one day I was on my way to rehearsal and I called my manager. I said, I can't wait till I don't have to do this to survive. And got fired 2 months later.
Ah!
But that's just how it
Yeah,
works.
that's how it
A lot of times
works.
we be shocked, but God ain't shocked. He said, I got you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
not
put
at
it together
all.
for you now. So
Yeah.
millions, billions, trillions has changed my life, and not just financially. It's changed my level of thinking.
Mhm.
It's I'm because millions, billions, trillions, the brand is still teaching me every day. There are times that I'll say things and catch myself like, I didn't mean that. I take it back.
Ooh.
I'll take it back. Let me fix that because we just subconsciously say things,
Yeah.
and sometimes I get on my mom. Sometimes she'll be like, "Oh, I can't afford that." Don't say that
Mm-mm.
because whatever you put out there
Exactly what it is.
is
As a
exactly
man
what it
or woman
is.
thinketh, so shall they be.
Yes, it's mind power, and it's like really that scripture is next level. We
Mhm.
didn't know the power of that until I got to this age of, as a man thinketh, so
Yes.
is he.
Yep.
We say these scriptures, but we don't really believe them.
Mm.
The scripture said, "Let the weak say I am
Strong.
strong,
Yes.
and let the poor say I
I
am
am
rich."
rich. Mhm.
That's speaking to the economy.
That is.
That ain't said nothing about you gonna be rich in heaven and all that.
Mm-mm.
Yes, we will be as well, but it said let the weak say I am strong. You are
Yeah.
supposed to declare what you want, not what
You
you
what you
are.
are. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Your current
now
state.
what I try to help my friends and the people around me is to not speak to their situation, but
Mhm.
to speak to what is coming
Mm.
and what is already here. And I hate to sound like a pastor, but the other scripture says, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time
Time
are not worthy to be compared to the glory that shall
shall be
be revealed,
revealed.
not happen.
No.
Reveal. You know what
Revealed.
that means. Reveal
Yeah.
means it's already done.
Done.
You're just
You
getting ready to
yeah,
walk
you
up
about
on
to
it.
see it.
You're
Yes,
about to see
exactly.
it.
You're gonna move the curtains, whatever you gotta do.
And that's what
The
it is. The
reveal.
curtains is getting it's the reveal for
It's the
me.
reveal
It's
for
the
me
reveal for
too,
me.
Travis.
It's the reveal.
What ain't no it's not a room in the studio for me to take a
Nah,
lap. So
so
now
it's
just
you know
settle down.
that's where we at. Millions, billions, trillions. We dropped it and it went viral. It
Yeah,
literally went
it
viral.
truly went
It
viral.
went viral. It wasn't no paid ads. If I lie to you not, I probably spent $50 on Instagram. It was literally organic. It was almost like people were like, "Oh my God, I need this. I need this. I need this." It's
Mhm.
it's helping me think better. People would send us messages like, "Why is my shirt taking so long? I'm closing on my house, and I want to close in my shirt."
Ooh.
So it's like it's
Yes.
that next
Mhm.
level. So now it's turned, and I keep referencing my pastor because he's helped me elevate my mind. He says, "Stop calling it a t-shirt line. It's not a t-shirt line. It's a prophetic movement."
All right, Bishop.
And when he said that, it shifted me because I told somebody, I said, I want to be in Neiman Marcus for Black History Month. Somebody told me, that's just a t-shirt line. That shirt, that line ain't high fashion enough to even be in a store like that. I said, it's not a t-shirt line, it's a prophetic movement. A year later, Neiman Marcus was highlighting me as a fashion designer
Come on here.
for millions, billions, trillions.
Right.
And they had never seen that many people standing and staring at a mannequin, trying to figure out Where did it come from and how can they get it?
Wow.
So it's now gone from the t-shirt line
Yeah.
to the prophetic movement, now to the global motivational platform. We're doing conferences, we're doing summits, we're doing seminars, we're doing podcasts. I mean, we're doing so many things to elevate people. And as I was telling one of your producers earlier, we are elevating and a lot of people are waking up. We
Mhm.
waking up.
Oh my God, I just got through talking about that. Do you feel this shift as a lot of people now, a whole bunch of salacious things have been coming out for people in positions,
Yeah, yeah,
and that's in the kingdom and in the world. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
That's right.
This is
That's right.
across
That's right.
all platforms. And the fact that that regime is they're just spiraling out, taking each other down. What you know what I'm
Let me
saying?
tell you something, and I ain't, I'll say within the last 10 years,
Yeah.
but in the last few years, you'd be surprised of how I was like trying so hard to get meetings with some of these same people that are coming down, trying to
Mm.
connect their names with my brand. I'm talking
Mm.
about I was one separation from meetings with some of these people that God blocked.
That's right.
Can you imagine if this brand that I worked so hard for was connected to all the
To
stuff that's going on in this world
yes.
right now?
Right.
So everything ain't rejection, it's
Mm-mm.
God's protection.
Mhm.
It's God's protection.
Absolutely.
And that's why you got to really trust the process.
Mhm.
I would have saved a lot of sick nights and anxiety attacks if I had just accepted the process. Like, hey, it's gonna happen. It
Right.
ain't gonna happen in your time, but it's
Right.
gonna happen.
Absolutely. Timing, and we've said that timing thing again.
Yeah,
Timing is
it's
everything, and it's
everything.
nothing like God's
It's
timing.
all God. I keep referencing, I'm referencing these people because I just told you previously
Yeah.
that you really got to have people in your life to uplift you. When
Yeah.
I was sleeping on my mentor's couch 5.5 years ago and I was crying, saying, God, when is it going to be my turn?
Right.
He came out of his room and sat on that couch and said, you're too special to be an overnight success. Them tears, I don't know where they went. They just dried up.
God
I've
don't play
never
about
heard
you.
nobody say nothing like that to me. He said, you are too special to God to be an overnight
Right.
success. He said, because the longevity that you're going to have,
Yeah.
it's going to take a little bit more time. He's
Mhm.
building you. He's building
Yes,
your
what said building
character.
your character.
He's
That's
building your
what that does.
character.
That long that's
There's a
building
lot
your
of
character.
stuff now that I'm dealing with differently that I would have dealt with differently 5 years ago. There's
Absolutely.
stuff that I went through years ago that now that when I deal with it, it's like, okay, no
Because you've
problem.
been processed.
Yeah, it's the process. And I'm
The
not saying I'm
process.
where I want to be, but I ain't
Oh,
where
no,
I
no, no.
used to be.
We're forever
And we're
being sifted.
growing and
Yeah.
sifting and learning.
Yeah.
But when he said that to me, in that moment,
Yeah.
I accepted that I was special to God.
I'm happy
Not
you accepted it.
not that I was just a
Open.
child of God, but I was special to him.
Very.
I had to accept that in that moment, like, wow, he cares about me. He knows what I need. He knows my desires. He knows I want to take care of my mom. He know I want to take care of my family and the promises that I made my nephews that I got y'all. Don't worry
Mhm.
about nothing. I need God to do it for me so I can open up the doors for my family.
Yes.
He said,
Mhm.
I got you. And when I do it, you're gonna be able to do everything you dreamed about.
Promises of God.
Promises.
Yes and
Speaking of
amen.
I ain't trying to take over the interview, but
Ah! Have your way.
speaking of promises, there's a song on the
What's
new album.
Mhm.
I'll let you talk about it. Just a song on the album called Promises,
Amazing.
and I
Let's
was
get into manifestation.
manifestation. It's the completion of a thing.
It's amazing.
It's not manifesting. That's the process.
Uh-huh.
The manifestation is it's already here.
Mm.
And that's the power I want to give people back. There's a song on that album called Promises. And I literally, while I was writing it, I was
Mhm.
crying
Yeah.
because 5 years ago when I was writing songs from a couch and from a blow up bed and from a floor and from a couch in LA and a floor in New York. And when I looked out at my view today while I was writing that song,
Mhm.
it reminded me that God kept his promises and that he did just what he said he was going to do. And I'm living in a neighborhood that I drove through 5 years ago and said, I can't wait to be able to afford to live in this neighborhood. I can't wait to afford to live in that building. So when I was writing this song from that building,
Right.
Please don't make me do a backflip out this chair,
Ah.
April Love. When I started thinking about how God can't lie
Mm-mm.
and that he is still keeping his promises,
Yes.
I'm literally like this Levite that God is sending out now. You know, the master prophet, Ibn R. Jordan, he teaches me like I'm a new age pastor.
Mhm.
And I remember he told me this 3 years ago. He said, "You know, you're a pastor." I said, "No, don't put that on me. I don't want nothing to do with that." He said,
Right.
"No, because you're thinking traditionally."
Right.
He said, "But no, you're literally called to help save people and bring people to another level of consciousness." So that's where I'm at now. It's like everybody I encounter, it's like, "Hey, we're going to elevate. What are you
Mm.
thinking? What's your biggest dream?" We not listen, we don't know how long we got. We not doing nothing that ain't what you've been called to do.
Right.
We
Don't have
not doing, yeah,
time.
we don't have
Don't
time.
have time.
You know what I
Not
mean?
we don't have time.
We ain't got time. So don't
Mm-mm.
tell me nothing about next year. You don't know if you're gonna
Right.
be here next week. So we
Exactly.
got to do it now.
Yeah.
And just as a reminder to people that God keeps his promises, he cannot lie. He's going to do just what he said and he's going to
Yes.
keep doing it and reminding you, I got you.
Yes.
So whoever's listening to this, I don't care if you're in the studio or out
Right.
of the studio.
Right.
Every word that he promised you is going to come to pass. Your job is just to get ready for when that curtain open for the
Right. The
revealing.
reveal. The
It's the reveal.
reveal.
You got to get ready
It's
for
the
when that curtain
reveal.
opens. So the manifestation is the teachings of Bishop Murphy and Ibn R. Jordan and Reverend Ike, the late
Come on,
great Reverend
Reverend
Ike.
Ike.
I listen to Reverend Ike every night. Just a whole nother level of consciousness and
Yeah.
thinking,
Yeah.
and just my friends and everything we talk about. Just going to the next level and better days. We're not singing about better days being on the way. Better days are already here.
Here, right.
You know what I mean? So that's what we're talking about. And it's an amazing album. I got some incredible features on the album. Fred Hammond,
Woo.
Vanessa Bell Armstrong,
Yeah.
John P. Key, Lisa Knowles Smith, Yana Crawley,
You are
Charles
not playing.
Butler, William Murphy. I mean, it's just so many great people on this album. It was I joke with my friends to say it's the new Wild Gospel. You remember back in the day
Yeah.
in
Wow.
Wild 98 where they would put all
Yes.
the different
Exactly.
collaborations
All the
together.
different
But
artists. Yeah.
that's what this is. Collaboration is another level of elevation.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to come together and create a masterpiece. And people are messaging me every day like, man, your album is bringing me, not just bringing me closer to God, but it's actually encouraged me to go start my business. Collaborations is another level of elevation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I came together with some of my idols, but that's another level of the manifestation.
Right.
I grew up wanting to be John P. Key. That was a dream of mine to work with him. He's like a father figure to me in my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to have him on the album, Vanessa Bell Armstrong, one of my favorite singers of all time, to have her on the album, Fred Hammond, come on now. Who ain't singing Fred Hammond every Sunday? So it's just like I grew up
Right.
on Fred Hammond. So to have him on this project was incredible.
So did you produce the whole
I produced this
and wrote?
I produced the whole record. I
All
wrote the
right.
whole record with a few co-writers and a few collaborations. I collaborated with Aaron Thomas. I collaborated with Troy
Love
Oliver,
it.
Troy Taylor, Zaytoven. Yes, Kenny Eldridge. I did a lot of collaboration on this album. It was incredible.
So how does this differ from your previous work?
My mind is different.
Okay.
My mind is different. You know, I wasn't writing from a place of God, when you gonna do it?
Mm-hmm.
When is it going to be my turn? I wasn't writing from a place of slavery. And I'm not saying that I didn't write from that place because of where I am today.
Right.
Because even if I was still sleeping on a blow-up mattress, my mindset is different now.
Mm.
See, sometimes when your mind elevates, your mind got to elevate before your money catches up to it.
Absolutely. It has to.
So the truth
Or
is,
the
it's
money
not
won't.
just about where I am, you
Yeah.
know, in status, but it's just my mind is different. So that's why the music is different.
Mm.
Cause it's like some of the stuff I was singing about, I don't have yet, but I got to sing it like I got it.
That's the manifestation.
Yeah, it's the manifestation.
That's the manifestation.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just, it's that. It's that.
Wow. That's everybody. You better go stream
Please.
manifestation.
And you know, come on, we did this independently.
Oh, amazing.
No label.
No, I love that.
No distribution deal. We don't have no private investors and all of that. No.
Okay.
We did this all independent and we debuted at #1 in 30 minutes on iTunes.
Wow.
Number one, independently
God does not play about you.
all day.
Okay.
And that's the manifestation. That was a dream.
Yeah.
That was a dream of mine to do that independently.
And I love that you're so specific. You know what I'm saying? Like you bring language, specificity. What is the word? To the actual goal, the desire. That's the desires of our heart.
Yeah.
God knows. God knows.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even remember.
Yep.
And it's just like, this is a longing. This is a desire. And some people just leave broad. Oh, I want a man.
Yeah. Nah. You gotta be specific, and
Very
you gotta
specific.
say what you want.
Yeah.
You gotta say what
You
you
have
want.
to.
Somebody just recently asked me, "It's like, what do you want to be?" I said, "I want to be extremely wealthy, so that I could help people, and so that I could sow back into
Mhm.
businesses, and then I can sow back into the kingdom and my
Exactly.
family and my church. That's what I want. I'm not gonna say, people be so churchy and be like, oh, I just want to be a blessing. Okay, well, you can be a blessing and be broke too.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Be
But
a
nah,
blessing and need a blessing.
and need a blessing at the
Mm.
same
Time.
time. So yeah, I want to be extremely wealthy so that I can help people. That's a dream of mine. I remember years ago, somebody asked somebody, hey, what do you do when you've accomplished all your goals? And one thing that now that I'm still accomplishing goals, but I know what it is. I want to give money away.
Mhm.
I want to help people. I want to start businesses for people. Some people just need a little push.
That's it.
You'd be surprised how many people just need their car paid off.
That's it.
They don't even need $1 million. Just pay my car off and I got the rest.
Exactly.
Some people just need a little push.
Help. Yeah, that's all.
You know what I mean? Most
Yeah.
people are literally just working to pay rent and pay their car note. You know what I mean? So just think about, I did some math. Now, this is crazy. You don't hear people talk about this because people be scared to talk about this. I did some math. One day I was standing outside my house. Not my house. I was standing outside my apartment that I have. And I calculated how many people live in the building and how many people, and what the rent is, the average rent, and how much it would be to pay it for a year. And it was like $3 million. There's people that got homes that's $100 million. Can you imagine just, me being able to go to my apartment complex and say, hey, I wrote this whole album in this building, so I'm paying everybody's rent for the rest of the year. See, I want to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know how many people just need a push or that may be behind? There's so many times we sit next to people in church or we're at the gas station and some people are suicidal.
Oh, absolutely.
On their last leg, don't know how they gonna make it. And they just needed an encouraging word to say, hey, I believe in you. And the vision that you have and that God put his hand on is gonna happen. And that just changed somebody's life right in that moment.
In that moment.
That's what I'm called to do. That's my purpose, to help elevate people and impact people.
I love that. Oh, I love that. And I love that all of that. Tell us everything around that now. So we have Manifestation, which is out now.
Yep.
We have Millions, Billions, Trillions.
Yes.
The prophetic movement.
Yes.
Okay. And we have, you as a performing artist.
Yes, I'm an artist. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, entertainer. So, we're doing TV, we're doing music, we're doing albums, we're doing all kinds of stuff. We got our show getting ready to drop. Let's Catch a Vibe, our little podcast show we're gonna do.
You and who?
Just a few of my friends. Just doing what we do in the living room.
Okay. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just getting it together. And I have a new kids line that's coming. And it's all empowering the next generation so that they know what they're looking forward to. That brand is called My Future is Huge. Everything we do is going to be about going to the next level. So I want every kid in the world to wear that hoodie and that shirt. And we're getting ready to drop. My future is huge.
Before Christmas?
Yeah, we're going to drop it. We're dropping it this week.
Wow.
My future is huge.
I love that.
And I believe that for me too, but I'm just dropping it for the kids. But my future is huge.
Yeah, I'm a strong believer in also that whole wearing stuff.
You got to wear
it.
The Reverend Ike teaches us about visualization.
Yeah.
You got to see it.
You have to see it.
You got to look at it. You got to be able to look at it and see it. That's why I have my friends take me. Listen, sometimes I drive through Sandy Springs. Over there through Alpharetta, I drive through and I'll be picking out my neighborhood. I'll be like, oh, I like this. I think I'll get something like this. Confident.
Right. 'Cause it
I
will
I used to
happen.
drive through like, oh my God, what do these people do? Now I
Now
don't
it's
have to
like,
worry about because I know what
mm-mm.
I do.
Right. You know what you're but
And
you
I
know
know
now
what I'm doing right now is gonna put
but
me in there.
right,
So
right.
I ain't worried about what they do.
You ain't gonna worry
I
about
ain't
your
worried about what
neighbors.
they
You
because
just know that they will be
they get ready
neighbors.
to hear me out there mowing that lawn. I don't mow my own lawn.
Okay. But
Yeah, I want to mow my own lawn. When they hear that loud music and that U-Haul backing up, they gonna know we got some money.
ah! Oh my God. I love that. I love your energy. I could talk to you all night.
Yes,
Man, so first of all, thank you for taking your time to
yes.
come by
Thank you for
and
having
just
me.
breathe with
I had a good time. I know I didn't
us.
breathe. I've been talking the
Okay,
whole
let's do it
time.
real quick.
Okay.
Everybody do it
All right,
with
let's
us
breathe.
because we heard a lot. You dropped a lot of amazing nuggets and we're all in the process, well, we should be reprogramming or, processing.
Yeah,
That's how we
yeah,
evolve. So
yeah.
this just take a deep breath in through your nose, guys. Now exhale, but make a noise like an ah. And just settle right there. Settle right there. All right. So we have, I'm going to do, I got to go for the replay because it was so many little nuances and like notes I was
Yeah.
taking in my head, like, yes, in regards to the practical steps. He gave so much information that we can apply to our own lives, the level of faith that he had early, visualization, manifestation. So, man, I'm too excited for you all. I'm excited for us. 2024 is what you make it, what you proclaim, and what you agree with God about concerning you, and it could be huge. I know yours is going to be huge.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's here. And whoever's watching, and I don't know if this is okay for me to say, but you know, start the business, start the LLC, start writing the book, write the song.
Yes.
Even if you don't have the money right now, go drive in the neighborhood you want to be in. Go to the dealership and go sit in the car and take a picture of it and put it as a screensaver on your phone. Make the decisions for those things to come find you and happen for you.
Just breathe. This was so good. Again, making sure you follow Travis.
Please follow me at Instagram at Travis Malloy, TravisMalloy. And please visit my website, thetravismalloy.com. That's THE travismalloy.com. And there you can find the music. You can
Yes.
find both clothing lines. You can find all the booking information and things like that.
Yes. Thank you so much. We're going to have you back. I'm going to keep up with you. I'm going to play manifestation and put on my millions, billions, trillion shirt and
Yes.
manifest
Oh, yes.
manifest my coins.
It's going to be a big year next year.
A very big year. The shift is
We're
upon
going to
us.
do stuff that we never did before that people
Yeah.
didn't think we could do. So
Right.
you get ready for this show to be on TV. The producers are going to get ready to call because I'm deciding for them to call for you right now. The producers are going to start calling. The networks are getting ready to start calling. You are a superstar. I'm telling you what I'm telling you. And there's a lot of people who know that you're a superstar, but they couldn't even handle sitting next to your superstardom. So they're not around anymore. But I'm telling you right now, this show is going to be huge. And the reason why it's going to be huge is because when you met me, you said to me 5 years ago, what can I do to help you? What can I do to serve you? I'll help you whatever you need. You didn't ask me for no money. You immediately jumped into service mode. And I'm going to stop before I start crying. So I just want to tell you thank you on your show for sowing seed in me. Thank you. You got to reap what you sowed. You got to reap. It's reaping season. Let me go before I start crying.
Oh. Who's supposed to close this show out?
Just start
Ooh.
running the credits.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I saw then what I see now.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Big, so big. Big.
Yes, ma'am.
Huge.
Yes. That's right.
I ain't even got to say nothing. You already see it.
Let's
You
do
see
it.
what I see.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. On that note, well, I have to go catch my breath. at this point, but this has been an amazing show. I want to thank you for sticking with us, staying with us, tuning in every week, sharing, liking, subscribing, downloading, reposting. We appreciate you. I am grateful for you. Continue to take this journey with us. We're going to bring you the best and the best. People that are doing the work, that are living the life, that are changing the world, that are doing exactly what God told them to do with a loud, resounding yes. We'll have them here, but they'll be telling you how you can do the same. So come on, tribe. Making sure you follow us on all of our social platforms, and we will see you next week.